And welcome into another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Welcome, everybody. It is time for the playoffs. The Eagles have made it through 18 weeks, going, what did they go, 14-3?
14-3.
What did we say, 12, I think, at most?
12-5, I think, was our best record.
I think you were at 12. I think I was at 11.
Right.
So, yeah, to say the fact that we're at 14 and we're not the number one seed.
Yeah, that's crazy. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that we were going to get 14 wins, I'd have, all right, the road to the Super Bowl comes through Philly.
Right, and theoretically, we were the third best in the record-wise.
Yeah.
In the NFC. So, wild. But here we are still. Most of the playoffs goes through Philly.
That's right. Most of the road to the Super Bowl comes through Philly.
Right. Yeah. That's right. There is a good chance.
Or in Detroit.
Yeah, there's a good chance you're playing here in Philly.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yes, obviously Detroit went ahead and beat Minnesota pretty handedly, honestly, to get the number one seed. Minnesota sadly drops down to 5, which, again, kind of sucks for them.
Sure. But, I know we were talking about it before. Yeah, how do you fix that? And I don't think there is a way to fix it. I think it's just you got to win your division. I mean, they want to.
See, that's the thing. Like, why should Tampa be seated higher than Minnesota?
They won their division.
I get that, but they're in a shitty division. I think it should be automatic bids for the division winners. And then the 3 best after that stays the same, but I think it should then be, seeded accordingly. Not just giving automatic.
So then according to that, all right, all 7 teams make the playoffs that made it.
Right.
And so Detroit gets the bye, Minnesota then becomes the 2 seed?
Yeah.
And then we're the 3. All right.
I mean, is there really that big of a difference? I mean, yes, for next week there certainly could be, but
right.
Again, I still think this kind of screws over some good teams.
I mean, perhaps, but I also think Minnesota could have just handled their business and beaten Detroit on Sunday night.
But then, then you're saying that same thing about, Detroit.
My argument is I don't think the system's broken. I just think it's 1 year where it kind of screwed over one team. And I think overall, if you go back over the years, the issue isn't big enough.
Right. You might be right, but still, I don't care about other years. I care about now.
Sure, but that means basically we're changing the rules every year because we just didn't like how it worked out for one team.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I just would rather have consistency in the rules. And
I could feel the vein in your forehead popping already.
No. I mean, I'm not angry. I just disagree with the idea that anything's wrong with the current system.
Okay. Well, either way, we are hosting the Green Bay Packers. We drew the Sunday afternoon game at 4:30. Looks like earlier in the week there was reports of a big old snowstorm, but I think weather-wise,
Saturday night I think is when we were supposed to get some kind of snow, but now it's changing a little bit of the predictions. So
it looks like Sunday should be partly cloudy, partly sunny, depending on your view of life, and doesn't appear to be snow.
Yeah, no snow on Sunday. Still a chance for some snow on Saturday.
Well, as long as they plow them, them parking lots, who cares, right?
That's the way I look at it too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll be down there. I don't know. I'll probably be down there about 8:30, 8:45-ish.
Yeah, that's my plan to be in line by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to drag Larry out of bed.
Thankfully, I don't have that issue. Mike's always raring to go and is just ready, when it's time to go.
Well, that's good. Do you want to trade?
I mean, wait, hold on. Does that mean I get
No,
Larry's seats?
no.
Okay.
Me and you just get to go down together, and Larry and Mike can figure out shit for themselves.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I'd be cool riding down with you.
Ah, there we go. It's
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously the tailgate's going to be absolutely insane. By the way, if anybody is tailgating that's watching this, please come on down. We're usually M3. We'll have a few tents set up. We'll have the
Right.
football smack talk flag flying high overhead, along with a nice Kelly Green flag, and the old the old Philly Sports Alliance as well flag.
Yeah.
So, yeah, come join us for a beer, free beer on Eric. So,
Okay. Looks like I'm having to get beers for the entire tri-state area. Cool.
you know it. Get that ready. So, anyway,
Any beer you want, as long as it's Yingling.
yeah, yeah. For the first time in a while, I don't think I'm bringing down any beer.
Yeah, yeah. I heard a couple guys in the group chat were saying they were bringing some Miller Lights, and
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah, it looks like you're good to go.
Yeah, so we'll get Larry some White Claws, and he'll be happy, and then everybody else will be all set. And in fact, I'm setting up because again, since Finn is not the cook this year, I'm having to take on that awful responsibility. So I'm getting. I think the last time we did burgers and dogs, I forgot to bring ketchup and mustard.
Okay, so how many people are going to bring ketchup and mustard this time?
None. I literally got and ordered off of Amazon like brand new squeeze bottles.
Okay.
That are going to be specifically used for tailgating.
Awesome.
So yeah. So I was just filling them up. Although I got to go out and get more mustard. The mustard bottles only filled up like a quarter of the way. Okay. But anyway, so I'm making sure to God I have all of that.
Yeah, because I'm the weirdo who puts mustard on a burger and ketchup on a dog.
Get out.
Yeah.
That is the weirdest thing ever.
I know. It's totally weird.
I can't believe I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't ever want to talk to you again.
I feel like there's usually one thing in every conversation that makes you say, "Wait, why do I talk to him?"
Very true. And usually it's your wonderful sports takes. No, I kid. So getting back to actual sports.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the Eagles game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Green Bay Packers are coming into the link on a one leg, a bruised arm, and a couple of bandages on their forehead. Here, Christian Watson out for the year. He won't be at this game. Jair Alexander out for the year, not available for this game. Those two things are huge. I will give Green Bay credit. They don't have the higher end talent in the skill positions, but they have a lot of decent talent. And Watson was a part of that trio of wide receivers there to go along with the duo of tight ends that I thought, again, had a really nice, compliment for Jordan Love, that he had plenty of people to throw to. Now, don't get me wrong. The Eagles have 3 people to throw to. Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith.
Sure.
Green Bay, they had a bunch. Romeo Doubs, Reed, Watson, the 2 tight ends, as I mentioned. Even Wicks, was not a bad 4th wide receiver. And Jahan Dotson was supposed to be this guy. And apparently just can't find his way when A.J. Brown or Devontae are in the lineup, whether they're both in the lineup or just one of them, apparently. He needs everybody out. for him to do, and or Tanner
Everybody's
McKee.
out. I'm your guy.
Yeah, I'm it. So it's either Tanner McKee or the fact that Devontae and AJ aren't stealing all of his targets, but just obviously alluding to the fact that he was 7 for 94 against the Giants last week. So obviously
somebody had to catch passes.
Yeah, exactly. So the good news though is Dallas Goedert is back. You pray that he can just stay healthy for like 4 games,
right?
And make it through the rest of the season before he is clearing out his locker and stubs his toe and he's out for 6 months. So
fine, you can be out until September then.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong. But this is, again, the Eagles are starting to get healthy. Everybody was a little worried about Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he was out there practicing. I think how it works is you got to practice and then you got to
see how he responds.
Yeah, you are, and then you get the full clear. I don't expect this to be any issue.
I would expect that full clear will come down sometime tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And everybody else is, Dean's going to be back in, who was out the end of the year. As I mentioned, Dallas Goedert's back in. He was missing for a bunch of games. Huff was back in last week. So again, people are starting to get healthy
on the team.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's I mean, he still may not be.
Yeah,
but you're getting healthy at the right time, and even today, Howie making a move that, man, I wish would have happened, 2 years ago when he first came out. Lewis Seen from Georgia, the safety from Georgia, who was originally drafted from Minnesota, ended up getting cut last year, or was it earlier this year?
I think it was earlier this year.
Yeah, it might have been earlier this year. Went onto the Bills practice squad, never jumped up, or at least, didn't get any significant time there, and was sitting around and how he pounced. And, whether or not he actually contributes this year or not,
right.
I think is only a bonus, where I think this is more of a futures move where, hey,
this is you got your eye on 2025, like next season.
Yeah, exactly. Not having to wait, you're not competing with anybody. You immediately bumped him up to the main roster. So I'm hoping, again, to see some things from Seen if he does get in, because again, I was a huge fan of him coming out.
Yeah, we both were. Yeah.
Yeah. So and listen, he's had a rough go. Minnesota or Buffalo didn't really seem to be the spot for him. And, the way that the Eagles, defense has been rolling, obviously best defense in the league, lowest total yards allowed. First time since 1991, by the way, we've done that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Of course, that 91 defense was something special.
Yeah, that certainly was. But isn't it funny that this year kind of ends up being this like prototypical dream year for Philadelphia Eagles fans?
Yeah.
What's the 2 things that we want above all other things? It's run the ball
and great defense.
And
And we have it.
Things we did this year.
Yeah, we ran the football. We led the league in rushing, and we played great defense. We were top defense in the league.
So, as a fan, I really hope there's nothing you can kind of say.
Somebody has something.
I mean, obviously, there's always somebody. But you would hope that most fans heading into the playoffs are like, all right, like, listen, the first 4 games were rough. Bye week happened. Things got adjusted. Things got addressed. And, again, we're not in those meetings. We're not in the locker room. We're not in that building.
I can only assume that Nick Sirianni pulled a gun on someone. Because, I mean, my God, like, this team came out and played with their hair on fire the second half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they sure did. The All-Pros just came out. First team All-Pro, we got Saquon Barkley. and
Yeah.
Jalen Carter, which couldn't make me happier.
Yeah.
And the
And
simple
100%
fact,
agree with both of those selections.
I mean,
Yeah.
the simple fact of the matter is, when you actually look at the Pro Bowls, everybody was so worried about, oh man, we lost Jason Kelsey. He was the
Yeah.
cornerstone of this offense. He was one of the greatest Eagles of all time.
And he was. And
And
he was as good as everybody says he was. Yeah.
absolutely, I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And we lost Fletcher Cox, and he was an all-time great Eagle, and he was a cornerstone of that defense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what did we do the first year that we don't have both of these guys? Oh, I don't know. We have an all-pro or a Pro Bowl center in
Yeah.
Cam Jurgens, and we have an all-pro Pro Bowl best D tackle in the league
Yep.
in Jalen Carter.
Yeah. I mean,
if that doesn't scream Howie is the effing greatest, I don't know what does.
yeah, can we give that man his flowers? Like Howie Roseman, he had another like. I know a lot of people might be critical of some of that run after 2017 and what they did in the years that followed.
Sure.
But my man got his stuff together.
Listen,
He
every
is
time
the best GM in sports.
every time Howie, you think you figured out how he goes another route. That Super Bowl year, he, fit those perfect puzzle pieces together with those 1 year aging veterans, those middle of their career, end of their career type guys, and the pieces fit, and they won a Super Bowl, and it was magic, and it was just meant to be.
Right.
Now, since 2020, he has been drafting like a maniac.
Yeah, this team just decided, hey, you know what? How about we just nail every draft from now on? Will that work for everybody?
Seriously.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, he has been drafting. Talk about with his hair on fire. He's been drafting with his hair on fire.
Seriously.
And
I still can't believe after the 23 draft that the headline the next day wasn't the devil went down to Georgia.
That's good. And people certainly constantly, argue this player, that player, Jordan Davis, obviously, is another one that a lot of people, because of the whole, Kyle Hamilton. Listen,
Yeah.
Jordan Davis certainly isn't the guy that I think you think he's supposed to be. But
I think it's fantastic. I mean, but he's great in his role.
He is great in his role. He is a great run defender. He's the reason why we are a top 10 run defense.
Yeah.
You combine that with the fact that him and Jalen Carter are a nightmare together. You throw, the fact that you have Milton Williams in there. That's a nice three-headed monster there of a little rotation there. And yeah, he is the run stopper. Milton is the pass rusher.
Yeah, and while we're on this subject of great defensive play, can we give flowers to? I know I'm not going to get much of an argument from you to give flowers to this linebacking core. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, those two men have been incredible this year.
Yeah, Pro Bowl for Zach Bond. Personally, I would have liked to have seen Nakobe Dean make it, but again,
I feel that was a little bit of a snub. But you know what? I hope none of the Eagles even play in the Pro Bowl.
Well, exactly. That's the goal, is that none of them see the field. Speaking of Mailata got snubbed.
Sure.
And honestly, I think it's just I feel like because Lane Johnson is Lane Johnson, I feel like he just kind of is getting almost punished for being a teammate of Lane Johnson. He was one of the better graded run blockers, pass blockers, and again, he missed a couple of games, but I feel like that shouldn't set you back to the point where you don't make the Pro Bowl. But
Yeah, not that far. I mean, he
yeah,
was
I digress.
Norm Malato was definitely a Pro Bowler this year.
Yeah.
Like,
Obviously we're still waiting on the whatchamacallit, the Pro Bowl, or not Pro Bowl, the Rookie of the Year selections. I assume
right.
That Jaden Daniels will get offensive. That seems to be pretty much a lock. But
Sure.
the defensive one kind of could go a lot of different ways. Q has to be in there. Coop has to be in there. The two guys from LA are certainly in there.
Yeah.
Fisk and Verse. So it'll be interesting to see where it ends up going. So
yeah, at least that very intrigued as to where they go on defensive rookie of the year.
yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with you. Offensive rookie of the year is Jaden Daniels. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, the most important position in the league, and he's the rookie that takes his team to the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, do I think the gap will eventually start to close between him and Caleb Williams? Absolutely.
Sure.
I think certainly the new coaches there in Chicago will certainly determine how quickly that happens. And again, I think we're going to see next year, a bit of a sophomore slump. It happens more than it doesn't for
right, and it's
quarterbacks.
that adjustment period. It's like, they get the rookie year of coming out there. Nobody's got any tape on them. Well,
Sure.
eventually, after 1 year, the league will catch up to you.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a matter of how you respond to that. And that's going to say what kind of career he has.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, obviously, being an Eagles fan, I don't wish him to have an amazing career. I don't wish ill will necessarily or injury.
I
Or
hope
anything
he
like
stays
that.
healthy, but just stays ho hum his whole career.
Just suck a bit,
Yeah.
That's all. But yes,
Don't
anyway.
wish anything bad on you. We just don't want you to be good.
Right. Yeah. That's accurate. All right. So getting back to the Packers game, as we tend to go off on our tangents. What would you say is the matchup that you are going to be looking most forward to for this Packers game?
Well, I'll start on the defensive side. I want to make sure this defense is dictating to the Packers offense. I want them to shut this running game down. I mean, Josh Jacobs definitely, he's going to be a big part of what the Packers are going to try to do. They want to play ahead of schedule, much like the Eagles want to do. They want to set themselves up in the second and third and medium, second and third and shorts. Like, they don't want to be facing, the second and nines, the third and 12s. And that's what the Eagles got to try to put them in those long yardage situations, and then let your defensive line pin their ears back and get after Jordan Love.
Yeah. No, that's what you would hope, to dominate the run game and kind of make them one-dimensional, especially in the second half. Hopefully you're up. And like you said, pin those ears back and go after Jordan Love. All right, offensively for the Eagles, what about matchup there?
Well, the easy answer is establish the run, and I mean that would be great. But what I'm looking forward to is seeing how Jalen shakes off the rust. I want to see him complete easy passes. I want him to make the routine plays routinely. I want him to get the easy dump offs to Dallas Goedert. I want him to hit A.J. Brown on that slant that just seems indefensible. And I just want to see him make those routine plays.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think that's the biggest concern heading into this game is how Jalen Hurts being off for basically 3 weeks.
Right.
How is he responding, or how is he going to respond? Finally being in live action. Is it going to take him a quarter? Is it going to take him a half? Is it going to take him one play?
Right.
Who knows? So that how quickly he's able to get going will certainly determine how quickly the Eagles get going, for sure.
Yep. And look, I mean, going back a couple of years, the 22 year when at the end of the year he was injured and had to come back in that final game of the regular season against the Giants just to clinch the division. And I mean, I almost wondered if he was still injured at that point because, man, he just played not to lose it. Like you could just tell the game plan was just don't do anything stupid that costs us this game.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and he played well enough for us to get the win. And then he turned it on in the playoffs and became Mr. Lights Out Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's exactly what we need from him. Obviously, last year was last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's something we can just kind of blip on the radar, an anomaly, and moving forward with Jalen's playoff career.
Right.
So well, listen, unfortunately we don't really have too many people chiming in. I think this sometimes we when we're off for a few weeks, obviously we're off for the holidays, our show happened to just be New Year's and Christmas. Yeah, we picked a bad day apparently.
But just this year, next year we'll be fine.
Next year we'll be fine. Yeah. So it's been a few weeks. So get used to seeing these two guys every Wednesday at about 5:30. My apologies, we're running a little late. I'm having some lighting issues. So the light that's right up here is like humming. And it's one of those I have one of those 6-foot lightsaber,
nice
bulbs. But one of them is just humming like a son of a bitch. And I cannot.
Hopefully that's not coming through on at least not on my end.
Well, I had to turn off that light.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I took me a little bit to get the ring light going. So hopefully lighting wise, everything looks good, although it's a little dark over
here. Yeah, you've got a dark corner over there, and
you never know what's just going to magically appear. So
I know you don't have your son this week, so I know he's not going to imagine.
No, right? If he did, you imagine if he did that right then? I would absolutely have probably pissed my pants.
Yeah,
followed backwards. Probably grabbed on to this.
So we would have had for those of you who don't know, was it a few weeks ago? We were doing a show, and afterwards, we're still sitting there talking as we're off air, and all of a sudden, your whole table just collapses, and I just see everything crash, and your computer go off. Thankfully, the sound stayed on. So I'm just like, oh my god, did Ryan just die?
Yeah, I pretty much did. So, so this bar that I have here, it's a mobile bar, but I don't really take it too much anywhere. And it kind of just chills in my basement. It's a little Super Bowl bar. It's got it says Philadelphia Eagles 41, New England Patriots 33. It's got this Philly special over here. It's got the big logo. It's it's a cool little bar. Anyway, so they came with these two seats. I guess they're not really what's the word? The type of seat I'm trying to
bar stool or
they're not like a stool, but they're like pseudo stool. But listen, I'm a bigger guy, 230, and I guess over time, it's gotten a little worn, and the bottom where where it was connecting to the metal part, the wooden part just separated.
It gave.
It gave, and
no boss.
I just went straight down. My natural instinct was to grab hold, so that the bar just toppled over, which knocked into the camera, so the camera went flying, I went flying, the sound was on, and here I am like, son of a bitch.
Once I knew you were okay, then I knew it was safe to laugh. But...
Right, naturally. And meanwhile, my kid who's upstairs watching,
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was unfazed.
unfazed. He just heard the biggest commotion of his life, and I screaming up for him. Thank God this happened. I don't know, a minute after we go off air.
Yeah, I was gonna say it
Like,
was maybe a minute after we went off
ooh,
here. Could you imagine? We would have broken the internet. Had
no, I would have quit. I would have quit. I would have never done a show ever again. I would have never shown my face on social media. That would have been it for me. It would have been over.
that would have been our viral moment.
Yeah, well, listen, for last moment then. So I call up to my son. He comes down. He's like, "What?"
What?
I was like, "Dude, did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah, I just thought you were on your show." I was like, "And what do you think I'm doing on my show?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, are you okay?" I'm like, dude, I was like, "No, get out of here." So yeah, thank
Oh,
God.
that is priceless.
Yeah, thank God. We were mere 60 seconds probably away from
Oh, I know.
the
They would have
worst
been.
nightmare scenario I could ever think of.
I mean, wow, for me, that would have been a dream scenario. That would have been hilarious.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Well, anyway.
Oh, come on. You know, if it were me, you'd want that to be on air and be captured around the world.
Well, obviously, yeah. Duh. But anyway, real quick, I want to thank obviously Eagles Pin Pull Network. If you have not, for some reason we're having some issues with our Facebook. It said I needed to reconnect, and I did. And then I come in today, and it was like, you lost connection. I'm like, what? What the? So anyway, I apologize if this isn't on our Facebook. We'll get that figured out real soon. Other than that, if you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, X, please make sure you follow and subscribe on all the other socials. They're right up here in this area. All the way over there, you can see in the corner there by Eric is all of the shows that are on the Eagles Pin and Pull Network. So please make sure that you are subscribing, especially on like Spotify or like Apple or whatever. So when all of our shows come out, you'll get them downloaded immediately, and it's great for the car and whatnot. So outside of that, also want to thank Wildman Drinking, who sponsors our show. They're basically just like smart, nerdy people who like to drink. So they come up with like awesome little drinking, inventions, I guess, really.
Yeah. Like
So so the Kraken is one of my favorites. It's a shotgun tool. There's the beer stick, which is like a syringe. You fill it up with beer and just goes like that. It's tailgate. Telling you, if you go to a tailgate regularly, you need to buy some of this stuff. You will be the absolute star of the tailgate. So head on over to wildmandrinking.com and throw in the code PSA, and you will get some great discounts there. Also, same thing for La Terrain watches. If you're looking for a luxury watch with not so luxury prices, head on over to La Terrain. That's LA-TOURAINE.com. The link is all on in the descriptions. So head on over there again. Use code PSA for site-wide discounts. And then finally, last but not least, I want to shout out to Pop Darts. Fantastic company. It's basically cornhole, but for like plastic suction cup darts. Awesome, a great game to bring to the tailgate. I'm bringing it Sunday, so we'll play that, Eric.
All right.
Yeah, head on over to Pop Darts. Get a cool. You can literally just get the darts themselves and just play anywhere that they can suction to, or you can get like a little board. They're like this big, not too expensive. So it's a really great, cool little game to play. So popdarts.com. That's it for us. That's all the things I'm going to shout out advertisement wise. Eric, do you have anything to add while we head into wildcard weekend that you want to tell the folks?
Nah.
All right. Gotta love it. Reminder, if you were down tailgating, M3, just look for the Philly Sports Alliance or the Football Smack Talk Show logo. It's the one up there.
Or maybe 7 rows back from M4. That's apparently one of my big knocks is I told guys that it was like when I parked, I was looking straight ahead and I saw it was like 3 rows ahead of me was the M4 sign. So I said that one. And then I looked like after I sent the text, I start putting stuff out and I look behind me and right behind me is the M3. I'm like, oh, I guess I could have just said that one.
I could have just said M3.
But they all found it. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can always shoot a message over to Philly Sports PSA on X, and we will help guide you. Like I said, free beers on Eric. I'll be cooking.
You just got to find 7 rows back from M3.
Or right in front of,
M4. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be in between there anyway. But yeah, we'll be cooking burgers, dogs, maybe some other. I think chicken quesadillas we'll be making.
Ooh, okay.
Right on the griddle. So yeah.
All right. I'm excited.
Yeah. So anyway, we will see you guys down there. In fact, I'm actually doing a show. A buddy of mine, Pat Bernard, invited me onto a show. So I'll be actually doing a show from the tailgate tomorrow or on Sunday morning. So
nice.
It'll just depend on how drunk I am, I guess. So, but anyway, check that out and check out Eagles Pin Pull Network. Other than that, we're out of here. So for the Football Smack Talk Show, I'm Ryan.
I'm Eric. Happy football, everybody. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Peace.